Hi, I'm Holly Andrews, Integrative Nutrition Health Coach and Stress Recovery Coach. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the kitchen. Today, I'm excited to share with you another easy weeknight meal that is also great for meal prep, so taking lunches to work or that kind of thing. And that is my crunchy cashew chicken wraps with an apple and cabbage slaw. And it is so easy to throw together. Now, I will tell you, I chose to do all of my own chopping. That's just typically how I roll. However, if you don't want to do the chopping of the cabbage and the apples and the carrots and all of that kind of thing when it comes time for the slaw, you can absolutely buy pre-shredded cabbage, pre-shredded carrots. I'm not so sure you're gonna be able to find pre-shredded apples, but to cut up these apples into kind of matchsticks was very, very simple and took me at like 2 minutes max. So you can totally do this even on a busy weeknight when back to school is happening, fall sports schedules are thrown into the mix and everybody is kind of back to chaos. You can definitely throw this meal together absolutely in under 25 minutes or less if you're using the already pre-shredded veggies. So totally love this recipe for its ease and quickness, and it is so tasty as well. So as always, let's talk about why I love this recipe, why it's going to help keep your stress at bay with nutrition, balance that cortisol, balance that blood sugar, and all of the nutritional goodness in this recipe. So obviously I've got chicken as my protein in this recipe. Protein, of course, wonderful for muscle recovery, absolutely necessary if you're working out to do the muscle recovery. It is going to help stabilize the blood sugar. Protein takes the longest for our bodies to digest. So the higher the protein, the longer, you're going to have that full feeling. Also, that in turn is going to help prevent cortisol spikes. So we've also got some cashew butter in this recipe. Now, I will be honest with you, I did not actually buy cashew butter. I had some leftover raw cashews that I just threw into my little mini food processor and blended up until I got a paste consistency. It's not really a butter consistency because to do that, I would have needed a full food processor and let it run for 8 to 10 minutes, and I just didn't want to bother. Now, you can obviously buy the cashew butter, and I probably would have done that if I didn't already have cashews that needed to get used up, but I had some raw cashews. So it took me about 5 minutes to make my cashew paste, if you will, and it worked just as well as cashew butter. So totally up to you. But we've got those cashews, which are high in magnesium and zinc. And of course, those are two key minerals that support adrenal health, which the adrenal glands are where our stress hormones are made. So as we're supporting adrenal health, we are supporting our body's ability to respond to stress appropriately and help calm the nervous system. For our veggies, we've got cabbage, we've got green cabbage and apples. So seasonal produce, of course, I always try to tie that in because when we're buying foods that are in season, we are getting them at their highest peak of nutrition, especially if you're buying them locally from a farmer's market. The closer that you can buy your food at the source, the more benefits and more nutrients that food is still going to have in it when it comes time for you to consume it. So cabbage and apples, high in fiber for the gut balance, high in vitamin C, to help support our immune system, and that is important because we're headed into fall, and also these times of transition like back to school are times of high stress, and that is when our immune system tends to kind of take a downward turn. So the more that we can support our immune system in those times of transition and times of stress, the better off we are going to be. Obviously, I've got healthy fats here in that cashews. Cashews are full of healthy fats, omega-3s, and we've got a little bit of olive oil here and then another omega-3. So totally balanced in terms of protein, fiber, healthy fats here. So just a really well-balanced meal that is quick and easy for a weeknight or meal prep for lunches throughout the week. Take your pick. So let's talk about throwing this meal together. As I said, I blended up my cashew butter, or cashew paste if you will. I just wanted to get that out of the way. And then I went to work on my slaw. So I got to shredding the cabbage, grating the carrots. I actually did that off camera. Nobody needs to see me grate carrots, and really nobody needs to see me shred cabbage and finally chop apples into kind of matchsticks. But I did that so, again, Up to you whether you actually want to go through all of that prep and chopping process, or if you want to take the easy way out, I'm right there with you. Buy that shredded cabbage, buy those shredded carrots already done for you. I just got everything from the grocery store and the farmer's market this weekend, including my apples and my carrots, so I just shredded them on my own, got all of the veggies into the bowl, and then made my little dressing separately. Now this slaw is a vinegar-based dressing. It is not a creamy dress. It is not a creamy slaw. So I've got some apple cider vinegar, a little bit of honey for a touch of sweetness, a pinch of salt. I whisked that up, made sure the honey really got incorporated. I'm at the end of my bottle of honey. So my honey dealer, if you're watching this, send me more honey. You know who you are, but so it was kind of a little bit crystallized, so I really wanted to make sure that honey got mixed in with the vinegar really nicely. And then I just tossed the slaw, the cabbage, the carrots, the apples into the vinegar and set that aside. I really wanted to let that vinegar and the flavors all meld, so I got that set aside. Then I went to work on my cashew sauce. So I had my cashew sauce. I took 2 tablespoons of my cashew paste, half the juice of a lime, some coconut aminos, a little bit of salt, and ginger. I almost forgot the ginger, but I did remember it to go back and added it in. So I chose to use powdered ginger just to make sure it really incorporated nicely. Usually I would use my fresh or frozen ginger, but I chose to go with powdered ginger here just again to make sure everything incorporated really nicely and made this really good, thick, yummy sauce that was gonna coat the chicken. So I got that ready. Then I cut up my chicken. I diced it into pretty small pieces. One, because I wanted to make sure it would fit in my lettuce cups, and 2, I wanted it to cook quickly. I didn't want this chicken to take forever, so I diced it into pretty small pieces. And once I had all of that ready, I got some oil in my pan, heated up my pan, added in my chicken, let it cook completely, made sure it cooked, like letting some of the water that comes out of the chicken evaporate and getting some like nice caramelization on the outside of the chicken. Once it was done, I turned off the heat and then added in my cashew sauce, stirred everything together, made sure all of the chicken was coated. I should back up and say that while that was cooking, I got my lettuce leaves ready. I picked up some butterhead lettuce from the store, and unfortunately, when I got into the lettuce, I realized that the leaves were really tiny. Usually they're twice the size of the ones that I got, so just beware of that. I didn't even check to see the size of the leaves. I just assumed, and that came back to bite me in the end. So butterhead lettuce is great. Romaine lettuce would be another great thing, or if you didn't want to use lettuce and you wanted a little bit of a higher carb meal, you could use some sort of wrap to put these in. Totally up to you, but just buyer beware. If you're using butterhead lettuce, take a look at that lettuce and make sure that the leaf sizes are actually going to, make nice lettuce cups. Mine are very tiny. So anyway, I got my lettuce ready, washed it, dried it, and ready while the chicken was cooking. So once the chicken was done and I mixed it in with the sauce, I spooned some of the chicken into the lettuce leaves and then topped it with a little bit of slaw. And this is the final result. Smells amazing. You can really smell that ginger. So a really flavorful, crunchy Asian dish. I love it. I'm probably gonna save these for lunch tomorrow, honestly, but so good, so tasty. I did taste it and I love it. It's really wonderfully flavored and fresh. So I hope that you really enjoy this recipe. It's a nice, light, healthy take on what could be a really heavy or like high sodium or something like that dish. So easy to throw together. It felt like it was done in no time. So enjoy that recipe. Again, be sure you're checking me out on social media to stay up to date with all of my stress tips and tricks that I'm posting there. If you haven't checked out my book, Heal Your Stress from the Inside Out, you can grab it on Amazon, and if you have purchased it and read it, please leave me an Amazon and a Goodreads review. That would really help me out. I'm really working to get to that 25 reviews mark on Amazon because that does magic with their algorithms in the background. Finally, if you are in a place where you are stressed out, burned out, you are wired but tired, maybe going through a lot of other symptoms like bloating, other things like that, and you need somebody to walk alongside you who has been there and understands the ins and outs of a high stress job or a high stress position, whether that's CEO of your house or CEO at work, check out my one-on-one coaching program. It was totally and completely designed for somebody like you in mind because I was that person. So check that out. I would love to work with you one-on-one. And finally, until next time, I'm Holly Andrews, and I believe that you can heal your stress from the inside out.